Please welcome Hunter Reid.
Wow. This is cool. I'm excited. You guys excited? Yeah. How was that this morning? Was that fun? The little magic mushroom thing. You look like you were having fun. So actually that's something I'm going to talk about in my presentation, and Bori just stole it from me. So rude. But anyway, we're going to have some fun. You guys ready to have some fun? Yeah. Fuck yeah. I like it. You guys ready to be productive AF? You guys know what productive AF means? Anyone?
Productive as fuck.
Yes. Alex, everybody. Funniest guy in the ship. It means to be super productive. And that's what we're going to do today. So, to start off, I just want to say, I want to acknowledge you guys for being here. It's early in the morning. There are so many other things you could be doing right now. You could be sleeping. Thankfully, we had that extra hour. You could be eating breakfast. I know I love to eat breakfast. You could be in the jacuzzi. I mean, who doesn't love to be in a jacuzzi? You could even be in the bar. There's free alcohol even at 10 a.m. But you guys decided that you're going to show up here today, and it is like an incredible turnout. Like, it's crazy, and I'm so honored. But you guys decided that your morning, you were going to be here. You were going to learn how to be more productive. And that just shows how smart you guys are, how committed you are to your own professional growth. And it's amazing. Like, I am just so excited to be on stage in front of so many cool, amazing people ready to learn. And so for that, we're going to make this worth your while. So with this talk, I'm going to give you some strategies. And what these strategies are going to do is they're going to help get you on the path to reach heights that you never even dreamed were possible. But they are possible. You can do it. And you can do it, and that begins here today with showing up to this talk, being present, and being excited to learn. So thank you for showing up and listening to me talk about something that is so important to me, productivity. So I'd like to start off with a little story about why it's so important to me. When I was 17 years old, I had an unpaid internship at a real estate agency. And one day, I went into the office and my boss called me over. She said, today, I'm going to send you a list, and I need you to call all these people and invite them to an open house. And I said, no problem. I can make some phone calls. That's easy. So I go back to my desk. I get the email. It pops up. I click open the Excel spreadsheet, and there are 2,000 names on this list. If I call 100 people a day, it'll take me 4 weeks to do this assignment that they gave me 6 hours to do. And I was like, this is impossible. 4 weeks of work in 6 hours? No way. But then I remembered, everything is possible. And I say it like that for a reason. Everything is possible. Because positive words equals positive energy equals positive results. Positive words equals positive energy equals positive results. Everything is possible. So with that in mind, I re-look at the Excel spreadsheet. Everything is possible. Oh, great, they have the emails. So I copy 2,000 emails. Someone's already laughing. I copy 2,000 emails, and I put in an email, and I'm like, we have an open house tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. You should definitely show up. And I hit send. Boom. 4 weeks of work, done in 5 minutes. I'm a productivity genius. That's why I'm on stage. Productivity genius. No, obviously not. So later that day, I'm sitting at my desk, and I get a call. I'm an unpaid intern. I didn't even know I had a phone, but something on my desk started ringing, and I picked it up. And I pick it up, and Harrison, could you come see me? It's the CEO of the company, this guy named Corey. He's this 6'7" guy, 205 centimeters. He's 300 pounds, 150 kilograms. He's a massive guy. Like, if you saw him on the street and you walked towards him, you would walk the other way. So he calls me up. I go to his office, and I'm like, hi, sir. what's going on? He's like, he's sitting down in his chair. He's like, Harrison, did we tell you to call a bunch of people and invite them to an open house? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, did you email those people? And I was like, yeah, of course. You asked me to call 2,000 people. It's impossible. Everything is impossible. I sent them an email, and everyone knows to come. And on the outside, I'm like proud of myself, but on the inside, really, like I know what's coming. And Corey says, I've been getting calls all day about people wanting to be off this email list. We can't have you around here anymore. You're fired. So I don't know if you heard what I heard. What I heard was Corey say, Harrison, we pay you 0. It's not really funny, but okay. You're worth less than 0. Okay, that's not the reaction I thought I was gonna get. So I was crushed. You know, what am I gonna tell my friends? What am I telling my family? Am I gonna graduate school? It was an internship for school. But I was determined, you know, that wasn't it. That wasn't what life was gonna be. I wasn't gonna be less than 0. And so I've spent the last 10 years dedicating to figuring this out. How could I be less dumb? How could I be less lazy? How could I be valuable? And there's been ups, there's been downs. I've actually been fired from 2 unpaid internships. Twice in my life, I've been told that I was worth less than 0. And so what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna share with you 10 years worth of lessons that I've learned in 40 minutes. So if that's not productivity, I don't know what is. But 10 years of lessons in 40 minutes. Are you guys up for that? Does that sound good? Thank you. Awesome. All right, so to start, does anybody know, like, what is productivity? Like, if you had to define it, could anyone define it? You know, anyone? Not one person? Okay, yeah, you. Shout it out. Getting shit done. Okay, I like it. Anyone else define productivity? Oh my God. I paid you guys, didn't I? So yeah, actually, you know, when I was told that I'm talking about productivity, a subject that's really near and dear to my heart, you know, the first thought was, well, productivity is getting shit done, just like she said over there. And so I'm writing this talk about getting shit done, and I look over at my friend Nick. And Nick is this, you know, 54-year-old bald guy, and we're traveling the world together, and we share the same co-working space. And, you know, I go in, I work all day long. Nick comes in, he makes a couple calls, he leaves, he's living the good life, and he makes millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. I'm working 6 hours a day, and at the time, I'm not making any money. And he's working 2-3 hours, making a couple of phone calls and making millions of dollars. And so that's when I realized productivity is, 1, getting shit done, right? Because if Nick doesn't make those phone calls, he's not gonna make very much money. And 2, the impact of the shit that you get done. So those 2-3 hours of phone calls that makes millions of dollars is the impact. So that's what I'm gonna talk to you about today. We have a little agenda. First, we're gonna talk about how to set our mind to productivity mode and become a productivity animal. We'll talk about the almighty procrastination. I believe procrastination is a very powerful force. I don't think we just need to get rid of it. We need to learn from it, and I'll teach you why. We'll talk about how to take over your market, how to make more money with less phone calls. Does anyone want to make more money in less time? Yeah? All right, does anybody want to make 10 times more money in the same amount of time that they're working? Yes. Okay, cool. So we'll talk about that. You should stay. And then, oh, this is awesome. At the end, I will give you something to take home. It's a really fun activity. It's something that you could do every day and ensure productivity. It may get us kicked off the cruise ship, and I'm really sorry, Bori, but it's gonna be a lot of fun, so stick around. So who's up for this today? Does that sound good? Yeah! All right, perfect. All right, so when I was, I don't even know, when I was 19, let's call it that. When I was 19, I got arrested for reckless driving. I was driving 100 miles an hour, through traffic, weaving in and out, and I got pulled over by an undercover. And it's really interesting. My punishment for driving too fast was to be sent to Skip Barber's racing school to learn how to drive faster. I don't know why that is. It is what it is. I was excited about it anyway. And so at this school, they talk about we're getting prepared for the track. And they talk about how a tire, it only has 100% of ability. And that ability is made up of either turning or speeding up and slowing down. So if you want to drive fast, you can't turn because that removes your ability. If you turn 20%, you can only accelerate at 80%. If you turn 50%, you can only accelerate at 50%. And so the key is to turn as little as possible, drive straight so that you can maximize your ability to speed up and go fast, right? Well, it turns out our brain works exactly the same way. We have 100% processing power, and we split it between trying to remember things and actually focusing. And so if you have things in your mind that you're trying to consistently remember, tasks that you need to do later, new ideas, and you're trying as hard as you can to remember, you're diminishing your focus. And so the first key to setting our mind to productivity mode is to declutter it. Get all those ideas out of your head, put it on paper, and keep your focus at 100%. It's like driving straight. The second tip is, this is like something that has totally changed my life. So recently, I hired a business coach, and I'll talk more about him in the presentation. He's a really cool guy. But basically, what he has me do is, I run 2 businesses. I give talks around the world. This is about my 5th country, giving a talk in 6 months. And when I hired him, he wanted me to add 25 meetings a week with partners, investors, advisors, and co-founders. If you run 2 businesses and you speak around the world, how much time do you have to prepare for a meeting? Anyone? Like none. Does anyone want a secret? Yeah? No? Okay. So I'll give you the secret anyway. It's a free gift for you guys. So the secret, he told me, we're on the phone one day, I'm like, Matt, this is impossible. There's no way that I could do this. I can't prepare. There's no way I could have a powerful meeting. And Matt, he said, Harrison, there's one thing you need to do to have a powerful meeting. That's to believe you have a powerful meeting. And how do you believe you have a powerful meeting? I'm going to have a powerful meeting. 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 Exactly. And so I started saying this to myself, I'm going to have a powerful meeting. And I started having powerful meetings. And I was like, this is amazing. Does this translate to other areas of my life? And it does. It does. And so if you want to write a powerful email, I am writing a powerful email. I am writing a powerful email. I am writing a powerful email. Exactly. And you write a powerful email. There's no procrastination or anything. And then the last thing I learned, I just started following a guy named Damon John. Does anyone know who Damon John is? Cool. So Damon John is a self-made billionaire. He knows a thing or two about productivity. He's on ABC Shark Tank. And he talks about the first hour of your day sets the tone for the rest of your day. And a lot of you in here know this. Someone talked earlier about morning routines. And a lot of you guys raise your hand for morning routines. And so I just want to add something to your morning routine, setting yourself up for productivity. And so how do you do that? So Damon talks about how the inbox is a defensive task. Checking Facebook, checking Instagram. Basically, what you're doing is you're allowing other people's problems to come in your space. And there's nothing wrong with that. It is great to solve other people's problems. But what you're doing is you're putting your brain in defensive mode. And basically you're forgetting about the stuff that you need to get done. And so he talks about offense. The outbox is offense. Reading a book, writing a chapter, making your bed is offense. So something that I started doing was every morning, before I get out of bed, I complete one offensive task and just put my brain in offense mode. So I have a challenge for you guys. There's 4 days left, as we just learned. It's a cool cruise challenge. Complete one task before leaving your room. If you complete 4 tasks by the end of this cruise, that's gonna be really cool for you guys. And I have some examples. Write an email, write a chapter in your book, make your bed. I love this. They come in every day to make my bed, and my bed is already made. Rigoberto's face is priceless. Yeah, so cruise challenge. All right, almighty procrastination. Who hates procrastinating?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so why do we procrastinate? Does anyone know why we procrastinate? What makes us procrastinate? How we feel when we procrastinate? Fear. All right, just shout it out. You don't like pain. What did you say? Not in the mood. Okay. So I'd like to share a story about why procrastination is so important in my life. When I was 16, I was a junior in high school. It was like 8 in the morning, and I'm talking to one of my friends, Molly. And I send Molly a message, and I'm like, hopefully I don't see you today. My parents just left. I'm trying to skip school. I have to give a speech 30 minutes ago, and I haven't started writing. So for me, I'm that kid who, if you assigned him an essay on Wednesday, I did it on Thursday. I started on Thursday. And so I wish back then that I had this framework. And what this framework is, it's 4 questions to ask yourself. And it's to learn from procrastination. So the first question is, do I have the skills I need to do this? So I was supposed to write a speech on a book, but I hadn't yet read the book. So I didn't necessarily have the skills I needed to write a speech because I didn't read the book. Next, do I know how to start? It is so hard to write like a hook or an introduction or something that pulls people in. And, I knew partially what I wanted in my speech, but I didn't know where to start, and that stopped me. Do I know why I'm doing this? When I was a junior, I knew what college I wanted to go to. It was similar school to, what Jordan said. It was a party school. It didn't have, a high GPA requirement to get in. So I didn't have a vision for what I wanted to do. And then, are my buckets full? When I was 16, I struggled with a lot of depression caused by obesity. And when you're unhappy, who feels like working when they're unhappy? No one. Yeah. They actually did a study, and the top 100 companies for happiness actually outperformed the market by 2.5 times. So good investment opportunity if you guys want. So let's start off with, do I have the skills I need? This one's pretty basic. You guys know, if you don't have the skills, what do? You check Google. You look in your network, you ask a friend, you go to Udemy, you learn it, you hire someone. It's usually not the best idea to hire someone if you don't know what you're doing. Something that's really cool tool is Clarity.fm. Does anyone know Clarity.fm? So Clarity.fm is basically, it's a website where you could pay experts per minute to teach you their expertise. So let's say you wanted to produce a film and you had no idea how to produce a film. James may be up there. You could call up James and you could say, James, how the hell do I track all these different projects? And James will tell you exactly how to do it. And then the last one, which I think is really important that people don't really think about, and I might sound a little woo-woo, but the universe, really. About a year ago, I wanted to write a pitch deck and raise some capital for my company. And I Googled how to write a pitch deck. I asked people how to write a pitch deck. I tried to hire an intern, and that was a total disaster. And I was like, you know what? It's just not my time to write a pitch deck. And so I gave that up. And the universe came back, and they put someone in my life, my business coach. And he's the guy that taught me about mantras. He and I put a pitch deck together in 30 minutes. And then the biggest value that he brought into my life, I'm going to talk about later. It's really, really cool. But I wouldn't have had those benefits if I tried to force myself into writing a pitch deck. So are my buckets full? I was really detached from my roommates. I had this loneliness. So I would sit in my room for 18 hours a day trying to work. I would stare at my screen and basically get nothing done. So I'm on the phone with my productivity coach, this woman Tina. She's like the greatest person ever. And I'm like, Tina, like I sit in front of my computer for 18 hours a day. I set my mind for productivity mode. Like, why am I not getting anything done? And Tina says, do you have any connection in your life? And I was like, no, I work all the time. And she's like, you should try. So I was like, Tina, there's this really cool networking event. I'll check it out. Maybe it'll be okay. And so I went to the networking event. I had a really good time. I got happy. And when I got back, in the 2 hours between the end of the networking event and me going to bed, I did more work than I had done in the 2 weeks prior. So happiness is really important. Sleep. Oh my God. Has anyone read the book Outliers? Okay, cool. So Outliers is a book by a guy named Malcolm Gladwell. And basically there was a study done on the highest performers in every single industry. And they were trying to figure out how to become world class. Would anyone like to be world class in their industry at what they do? In anything in life? Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So the book talks about, it took each person in that book 10,000 hours to become the expert that they are today. But what the book fails to mention is they also did a sleep study on these people. And world-class performers in different industries slept on average an hour of 8 hours and 36 minutes. Dr. Ali, wherever he is going to talk more about sleep, but 8 hours and 36 minutes is what it takes to be a world-class performer. And then nutrition. I love nutrition. It's what I do for a living. I'm not going to go too in detail of it, but I was obese for 20 years. You want to know how I got over it? Nutrition. No. I got over it from a lesson from my really smart mother, and she told me that food dictates how you feel. And so I started noticing when I ate poorly, I would feel poorly. And when I ate well, I would feel well. And when I would feel well, I would produce. So nutrition is very important. So how do you get happiness? We talked about love and connection. It's important. And then the next thing I'm going to talk about, you guys did this morning, movement. When I was 21, and I didn't really fit in with the real world, with college, I was doing a lot of drugs, a lot of drinking, wasn't really going to class. So I got sent into this outdoor leadership school program, which is actually what Enelin talked about when she introduced me. And for 88 days, I spent in the woods. And one of these days, it was really cold. You could see your breath. And we're walking through the woods, and we come across this valley. And in this valley, it's filled with water. And we don't want to get wet, but it's surrounded by two giant cliffs that we can't get around. So the only option we have is to go through the water. And so one by one, we go through this water, and we just feel miserable. We're so cold and wet, and it's freezing out. And so when we get through, our guide, Matt, he tells us we need to strip down. So we start taking off our clothes. We get down to our underwear, and he says start moving. So we start doing jumping jacks for a couple minutes, and all of a sudden, we warm up, We feel good. We start laughing. It's 30 degrees, 0 degrees outside Celsius. We're in our underwear, doing jumping jacks, and that is probably my best memory from those 88 days. And then the last way to create happiness, I was having a conversation with Florian. Where's Florian? Right there. So, and you know, he said that I could talk about this, but we were having a conversation yesterday, and you know, like me, he sold his business, and he's like, 20 years ago, I sold my business, and I've been to 130 countries since, which is really cool. And he says that, you know, when he tells people that, people get really jealous, and they're like, wow, Florian, your life is so amazing. You've been to 130 countries. That's so cool. And he's like, it's cool, but there's something missing. And what's missing is his vision. You know, what he wants to create. He's stuck right now, and that's why he's here to get unstuck. And he will get unstuck. But he's stuck because he's missing that vision. So the last thing is vision and progress towards that vision. Sleep, I talked about this. Nutrition. Who wants a really quick life hack when it comes to nutrition to be healthy on this cruise? Yeah. So basically, cravings are caused by a lack of nutrients. And so in the morning, if you flood your body with nutrients, you don't have those cravings. And those cravings are what makes you have those bad mistakes. So my second cruise challenge is to fill your buffet plate before every buffet meal. The first plate, half fruits, half vegetables. And just see how you feel. You'll feel great. You'll be happy. You'll have energy. You'll be productive. And you'll eat healthier. All right. Do I know how to start? This one is really important. So if you ever are stuck, brainstorm. This is the greatest thing that I've ever learned in high school. You know, shapes, geometry, algebra, whatever. Brainstorm. If you don't know how to start, brainstorm, and I guarantee you'll start. And then last year I was at a conference and I met this guy. He's about 26 years old and he just raised $2 million for his recycling company. I'm like, how'd you do that? He's like, Harrison, I don't have a business background. I didn't learn it in school. I read this book called The Rockefeller Habits. And in The Rockefeller Habits, they say to every day write down 3 intentions for your day. 3 things that are non-negotiable. And I've been doing that every day, and that's how I built a business without any business background. So why am I doing this? This is so important. This is something to help Florian. There's a story about 3 guys who are building a cathedral. They did a study about, you know, from the least productive employee to the most productive employee. The first productive employee, they're all bricklayers. The first productive employee, they asked, what do you do? And he said, you know, I get paid to lay some bricks. And he wasn't very happy or productive. He was one of the worst employees building this cathedral. The second guy they talked to, they said, what do you do? And he's like, I lay bricks in order to build this wall. And he was more productive, a little bit happier. But the third guy, so they asked the third guy, what do you do? And the third guy says, I lay bricks, and every brick I lay is one more brick that gets us closer to building this giant, beautiful cathedral. And once that beautiful cathedral is done, then my family can go and they can pray and they can have prosperity. So he knew his vision of what he was doing, and he knew his why he was doing it. So let's prepare for the activity later. I'd like you to write what your cathedral is. For example, my cathedral is I want to help 2.1 billion people that struggle with weight issues feel good and have a good life. So please write. That is really important for you guys to write. For this talk and for your life. I want it to be great. Okay, cool. Next, why do you want to build it, right? He wanted to build a beautiful cathedral so that his family could go and get prosperity. I want to help 2.1 billion feel better because I suffered from pain for 20 years and I can't watch any more people suffer through it. So why do you want to build it? Another minute. How do you build it? So we're gonna do a brainstorm really quick. You have your goal, you know why you want to do it. Now let's brainstorm. What are all the steps you can do? For the guy building the cathedral, it was lay the bricks, put the cement between the bricks, pick up the bricks. If you want to start a business, write a business plan, create a product, define your ideal customer. What are all of the things that you could do to build it? All right. So now, and I apologize for the quickness of this, but I really want you guys to get this. So, what bricks am I going to lay? What are your highest impact, minimalist effort bricks? What bricks can you lay that are going to get you building that cathedral faster than ever before? And I want you to star 3 of them that you already brainstormed. All right, and then I want you to circle 1, the one that you're going to do before the end of the cruise. For me, what I'm going to do before the end of the cruise is I need to send an email to my manufacturer to start setting up products that we could send it to influencers. So circle the one that you're going to do before the end of the cruise. Cool. All right, so how to take over your market. Who wants to make more money in less time? Who wants to make 10 times more money in the same amount of time? Sweet, let's talk about it. Plan for market domination. So I have this mentor, his name is Kevin. Kevin runs a CEO network, and people in this network are Bill Gates, Bill Walton, the founder of Walmart, Warren Buffett. And so, you know, I got on the phone with Kevin, and I was so excited. You know, I had just spoken. I was like, hey, Kevin, I just spoke at this conference in Utah, and this lady came up to me afterwards. She runs the charity summit of the charity that Michelle Obama started when she was in office. And she asked me to come speak, and she's going to help me get into 110,000 stores. I was like, that's amazing. And Kevin's like, yeah, cool. So you want to help 2.1 billion people, and you're in 110,000 stores. What else? And I was like, 110,000, I don't even have a product, that's amazing. And he's like, if you want to help 2.1 billion, you need to figure out how to be everywhere to help everyone. And so he talks about the power of partners in order to plan for market domination. And so, for example, what are the powers of partners? He says, look, there are 3 companies, Unilever, Walgreens, and Coca-Cola. These are 3 companies that have global distribution that want to start getting more into wellness, and they don't have food brands. So here's what we'll do. I have unfair relationships at these 3 companies. We'll try to set up a partnership, either giving them some equity, either give them a revenue share, or just get into their mission. And you'll get global distribution and sales without having to set it up. Do you think it would be easier to build a business if you don't have to think about distribution and sales? Yeah? So that's the power of partnership. And so I have an exercise, not for right now, but for later, that I did in June. And basically, you put 25 names on your list, people that you don't know, you don't have a connection to, but would change your business and change your life. And so on that list, my first 3 names. The first name was Tony Robbins. Do people know Tony Robbins in this room? Yeah. So my business coach, he has another job. And his job is to pitch startups to Tony Robbins and get them investment capital. And he only works with companies with missions that he believes in and that he wants to prep for Tony. The second name on my list was Vishen Lakhiani. Does anyone know Mind Valley? Yeah, so Mind Valley, it's a global company. They do 100 million in sales. He's got about 2 million followers on Facebook. And And I went to one of his events, and I met him, and I talked about my mission. He gave me his cell phone number, and we're talking about a potential spot on my advisory board. And then the third name I put on my list was Michelle Obama, which we already talked about the connection earlier. So if Tony Robbins invests in my business, and Vision, a global influencer, comes on the board, and I have a partnership with Michelle Obama, do you think it would be easy to build this business and dominate my market? Yes. Yeah. So I have the third cruise challenge. This is for you to do after this talk, is to write your Dream 25. Who are the 25 people that could change your life and change your business? And so to wrap up, start your day with offense. Complete one task before you leave your cabin. Keep your mind clear and have your mind at 100% capacity. Ask why you're procrastinating and learn from it. And find the 25 people that'll help you take over your market. So these are the 3 cruise challenge. One task before you leave your cabin. Start your buffet meals with 1/2 fruits, 1/2 vegetables, and create your dream 25 list. Awesome! Thank you so much. You guys have been incredible. It's been so fun to be here, and I'm so honored. Thank you.